My name is Egil. I am the founder of DP Organizer. I have been working with privacy and data protection now since 2011. So it's been a year, been a while. Started out as a data protection lawyer and then moved in-house working as a DPO and Chief Compliance Officer. And back in 2015, I founded DP Organizer. And DP Organizer really started based on my experience as a DPO, having been deeply involved and responsible for building and managing a privacy program. So we started off to try to build a solution that could help privacy professionals build and manage privacy programs in a better way. And it's been a great journey so far. And today I'm going to talk about the transition that is happening for many professionals right now in privacy from a reactive way of working into a more proactive way of working. It's very exciting times. I don't think I have to convince anyone in this session that privacy management is a long-term thing. I think everyone here has understood for a long time that you're never done with privacy or data protection. It has to be a living, breathing thing for the long term. But that hasn't necessarily been understood outside a privacy team. So, and also because it's new material, new challenges that we've dealt with in the last few years. Most privacy professionals have been quite busy just getting your house in order and doing the basic stuff. So it's been a very reactive way of working. But from many customers and partners now, recent months, we've started to hear more and more that companies in general, management and boards, are starting to really acknowledge the fact that privacy management has to be a long-term thing. We have to keep working with this for very good reasons, of course, because they realize that data processing is changing, regulations are changing, partner and customer, consumer expectations are changing, and therefore also the privacy programs will have to continue changing. Risks are changing, of course, as well. But that realization doesn't necessarily mean that we get more resources and get more people in the privacy teams. So we still have to work with what we got, but we have to try to make this transition happen, start spending less time basically on the reactive activities and moving into a more proactive way of working, which creates a more sustainable privacy program and is also a more value-adding program to the business. So that's all good, but the question is, how do we make it happen with the limited amount of resources that we have? What can we do to shift our focus and our time from reactive to more proactive ways of working? And over the years, we've been very fortunate to work with some of the best and most experienced privacy professionals out there among customers and partners. And we picked up bits and pieces, and we think we have a pretty good idea about how mature privacy teams build sustainable and value-adding privacy programs that manage risks and also seize opportunities. And I'll walk you through how they do that. And also thereafter, we're going to show you how we at DP Organizer with our products can help them make that transition and thereafter work in a proactive way more efficiently and effectively. So there are different ways to describe how a mature privacy program looks like, and it differs from organization to organization. But I think this is a fairly good way of describing the main themes of a mature, long-term, sustainable and value-adding business privacy program. It comes down to, it has to be an iterative, life cycle-based program. And I'm sorry about the small texts. Just head over to our booth later to get hold of the slides or get in contact with me personally. And I'll make sure that you get the slides and also that you get a personal demo if it's difficult to see the details when we get there in a few minutes. But this privacy program then, what do mature privacy teams do today? Well, they first start, very importantly, with a planning phase. Super important to have a clear plan of what you want to achieve in your privacy program. Some will aim for 100% compliance. Some will aim to be best in class, even beyond compliance. And some will just aim to take a few steps further from where they are today. And it's all fine to me. I think a good privacy program should aim to take you from where you are today, where you want to go. Taking good steps in the right direction, that is the pragmatic way of thinking, and it's a sustainable way of working. But identifying objectives, that is not something that you do just with a privacy team, of course. You have to involve different stakeholders and risk owners and also management to identify what different risks do we have today, what opportunities do we see, and how do we prioritize them, and what resources do we have. So where are we and where do we want to go? And in that way, identifying the objectives, super critical. And once that you've done that, you also, of course, need to identify, okay, so what activities will get us there? What do we need to do? When should we do that? How do we do that? And who should be responsible for and act on such different activities? During the planning phase, it's also critical to make sure that you allocate the right resources, that you have the skills, the information, the tools to reach the objectives, and also that you have an internal governance structure that you either create or that you can jack into to execute on the plan that you're setting up. So when you have identified the objectives and you know what you need to do to get there, it's all about execution. You work towards those established goals and targets, and that will typically involve doing a fair amount of assessments to identify and measure risk. It will be a lot about training, creating awareness in the organization and making sure that people know what data protection is about, how it affects your organization, and how to deal with different situations as they arise. What do we do if we have a potential breach, if we have a data subject request? How do we identify them? What do we do? How do we escalate? And those kind of things. Internal controls to make sure that you have key risks under control and that key processes are working, also a key element of a successful privacy program. And continuous reporting back to stakeholders and risk owners is also a key part, of course. Still, as a privacy professional, we have to spend quite a lot of time on reactive activities, supporting the organization in case of potential breaches, requests, or if we have new vendors or new projects starting up, we have to be there to support them. But it's really important to have to be well prepared for such occasions. We have to make sure as a privacy team that we have access to right information, tools, and routines and procedures so that we can manage such situations in an efficient way. Because unless we can handle those situations in an efficient way, they will steal all the time, and we have no chance of executing on the original plan and reaching those identified objectives. And then towards the end of this life cycle, privacy teams that have come far, they evaluate how they have done. How well did we carry out the activities? How well did we reach the objectives? And how has the risk and compliance status changed over this typically a 12-month period of time? And also, what can we improve for the next term? So this is a typical way of working that we see, really works for more mature privacy teams. And we think this is also a good way, something to strive towards if you find yourself currently very reactive, but you have an ambition to move towards a more proactive way of working. Then this is something to strive towards with clear planning, because that really enables you to identify what are the important first things that we should focus on, and having this way of working makes sure that you have the time and resources to get there. And In practice, I mean, this often results in a certain a set of activities, different types of activities, these assessment trainings, internal controls, reportings, etc., across different areas of interest. And this looks different from organization to organization, depending on your ambition, your current state, and your complexity and challenges. But the thing is, it quickly becomes a lot of different activities that you want to do that involves a lot of different people that are distributed over time. So it can become quite complex. So this is where we come in, and we are building and delivering tools and features that helps our customers plan this in a structured way, plan all the different activities, automate the execution of such activities. So we're going to talk about that today, and we're also going to talk about assessments and trainings, because those are two types of activities that we know many are struggling with, and it takes a lot of time unless you have good tools to carry out them efficiently. So we're going to show you our features privacy program dashboard, talk about tasks, how that helps simplifying the planning and automating the execution. We're going to talk about how that gives you a good updated overview of the privacy program, and how it also helps for evaluation and improvement of the privacy program. And then, like I said, we're also going to have a look at how our features assessments and e-learning that is actually being released now just in a couple of weeks, very exciting, helps our customers customize different types of assessments that they want to do, and also drive awareness throughout the organization. So I'm going to switch screen now for a second. Hold on, bear with me. And now instead you should see the DP Organizer software. So welcome to our world. So in front of you now, you see what we call the privacy program dashboard. So this is what our customers see when they log in to our software. And it's a starting, essentially an overview of their privacy program. So here in this calendar, our customers can see the different types of activities that they have planned through DP Organizer, what different types of activities they have planned for the year, and also the status of such different activities. Like I talked about, you will, after your planning phase in the privacy program, have decided that you want to do certain assessments, certain internal controls, maybe, definitely certain reporting, and most likely a lot of training. And you will decide details around that, exactly how to do it, when to do it, who should do it, etc. And what we provide here is a way to create that plan in a very structured way as a first. What our customers do is that they just click a button here and they create this type of activity, describe what it is. They assign it to someone, they set the due date. They also choose a notification date, so that when the time is approaching, when the due date is approaching, the responsible person gets a notification from DP Organizer saying, now it's time for you to start that assessment. Now it's time for you to start that training or to prepare that reporting, etc. They categorize these different types of activities and they save them. And then they, once that has been done, those activities go into this planning overview, so that so you always have a good understanding of what is to come. So we can choose to see here, for example, in July. If we choose July here, we're going to see, okay, what different activities do we have planned for July? We can see, okay, we have some training activities, we have some assessments to do, and some reporting. So that's one we can filter out, or we can click here on a certain type of activity. Let's say we want to see what different training activities do we have planned for the year. Then we can look here. So I choose training, and then I see, okay, these are the different training activities that we have planned. Some are planned, some are overdue, and some are completed. So a good way to see what different types of activities we have planned as part of our privacy program, what it is, who is doing it, and when it's supposed to happen. And also, as we can see easily what is overdue or what has been completed, it's easier for us to take action on the right things, basically. I can also easily see what have been assigned to me or what tasks I have created for myself. So this is really the core of DP Organizer in a sense, since it's the foundation for the plan, for the privacy program for our customers. It allows you to see what do we have planned, what is ongoing, where should I focus my time. But this feature can also be used to pick up on ad hoc activities, these reactive activities that privacy professionals need to do. Let's say that you're working on a DPIA in our DPA module, for example, or that you're working on a data subject request or a potential breach, or you're working on something in our data mapping module in DP Organizer, and you identify an action that needs to happen, or you identify a gap or a question that you need to dig into deeper. Then you also just, with a simple click in the tool from anywhere, you create a task so that you get that on your to-do list, and then later on you can sign off that you have done it. So you get all that documented. So a good tool to plan your work and to make sure that you have everything covered. And it also gives you an overview of what everyone else in the privacy team are working on, so you can have this shared view of everything that is going on in the privacy program. So assessments, we need to do a lot of assessments when we're running a privacy program. We want to, for example, we need to sometimes, do a DPIA, obviously, PIAs, legitimate interest assessments. Also, if a new project is starting, we want to gather certain information and carry out certain risk assessments around that. If we have a new vendor, we also want to assess risk relating to that, etc., etc. There are different situations in which we will want to gather information from someone, and we will want to make certain risk assessments and look at, okay, what is the initial risk? What do we do about that? What is the residual risk? And we want to document that properly. And this tool, our assessment tool, is a way to build customizable templates, distribute them automatically through the software, and to get the information back and to be able to evaluate the results in an efficient way. So it comes with a library of ready-made templates from DP Organizer that you can use as inspiration or as they are, with prepared information and descriptions and questions and answer alternatives. So you can just send them out to anyone or a group of people in your organization. But you can also very easily create your own templates from scratch or on the basis of our templates in the tool. And then what you do is you choose a template, you designate who's going to respond to it, or a group of people that's going to respond to it. The system distributes it for you, and when they have responded, it's easy for you to see that a response has come in, and you can evaluate the response. So once you have sent it out and it comes back, it falls into your inbox here, and you can see the response of the different questions and how much risk the evaluation has, or the assessment has resulted in as initial risk. And then you can evaluate and determine risk mitigating actions, and then get the residual risk at the end. So you document that full process. And if you send out multiple of assessments, then you also can track the progress, who has answered, where do we need to send reminders, etc. So you get this overview of the assessment process, and you can also dive into the details and see each respondent, what information they have provided and what is the risk in each different scenario, and from each respondent, and you can take proper action on that. So a great way of doing your assessments in a more effective and efficient way, basically. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to go more into details about that now, but instead I'm going to say a few words about the new feature that we will be releasing in just 1 or 2 weeks from now. I'm very excited about, which is e-learning. Driving awareness in an organization and making sure that people understand how to deal with different situations as they come up is so important. If you don't build the right culture and if you don't get people out there who are in direct contact with personal data, if they don't know how to deal with different situations, you will never get it right. But if you do, then you will have a smoother ride as a privacy professional. So again, I'm going to actually shift my screen back to the presentation, since we don't have this new feature in production quite yet, but it's very close. So quite similar to how assessments work, e-learning is a feature that comes with a library of courses from DP Organizer. And it's also very easy to create your own courses with content in the form of video, slides, texts, documents, etc., and also quizzes. So there is content and there is quizzes. It's very easy to create those courses and very easy to distribute to a group of people through DP Organizer. And then it helps you keep track on who has taken the course, who has not taken the course, and also who passed the course and who failed the course, and also how did they in detail respond to different questions. So a good way to drive awareness and a good way for you to evaluate also what courses seem to work, what courses seem to get the message across, what people might need extra training, and also where may I want to change the courses to get better results. That's a two-way street, I think. Here is an example of an overview that you will get with the e-learning feature once released. Here you can see an overview of all the different courses that you have been running for a certain amount of time. So it enables you to see, okay, over our privacy program, let's say that's a 12-month program, what are the different courses that we have run? How many participants were there? And how many passed and how many failed? And how has this been distributed over time? You can also dive into these individual courses and see what participants took the different courses, how did they do, and also even more into details, how did they respond to the individual questions of the courses, etc. So I'm very excited about getting this out very soon. And as a respondent, the end users, what they will get is they will be receiving an email from DP Organizer where it says, welcome, you've been invited to a course. Click here to take the course, basically. That will take them to this introduction screen with some introductory information about the course that they're about to take, how long will it take to complete the course, and then they start it. This is an example of how it could look like. Like I mentioned, there are content sections, part of a course, and there are quiz sections, part of a course. And that's entirely up to our customers, how they want to structure that. If you want to have several content parts or several quiz parts as part of one course, or how you want to do it. It's very easily customizable, and we support all of our customers in creating those courses as well. But the content part, so that they can either see a video, read a text, or see some slides or some pictures. And then different quizzes that they can get to make sure that they understand the content in form of free text questions, yes, no answers, or multi-select, different types of quizzes to make sure that people understand. And as soon as they have taken the course, they get instant feedback on how they did, how many questions did they fail, how many did they pass. They can also see broken down in detail what did they answer and what was the right and correct answer. And they have a possibility to retake the course to do even better. Hopefully they do until they have 100% correct, or they can submit it and it goes back into your inbox in DP Organizer. So you see that, okay, now this person took this course, this was their result, and you can take any further actions on that as you want to. So short session this, but we really see this transitioning happening. We think it's important and we think it's very positive that it's happening. And this use case that I described to you, this way of working that we see is successful for mature privacy teams with a planning phase and execution phase, react and evaluate and improve. We see that working, and that is the use case that we always have in mind now when we are building and developing both our products and our consultancy services to our customers. So we have that top of mind all the time, and we support customers who work in that way, or currently reactive but ambitious privacy teams who are moving in that direction. Get in contact with me or the team to hear more about how we may be able to help you. And yeah, looking forward to getting in touch with you in the future. And I hope, like I had, I hope you all had a great conference here today. Okay, my colleague tells me here a question has come in. Task categories can be customized to meet a company's own process and language. Yes, absolutely. What I showed you is just examples, but yes, different companies have different types of activities that they do in their privacy program, and they also name them in different ways, and that is fully customizable. Absolutely.